Salute Black Goose TV family. What's good with it? We coming at you with another one. Fluence and Zien podcast in this bit. What's good with it, Zien? How you feeling, man?
What's the deal, y'all, man? We here, man.
We got a shorter podcast on the side of the game. Zien got some business to take care of a little bit later, but hopefully the little time that we give y'all for now, y'all enjoy it. But if you hop up in here, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But we're gonna get right into the nitty gritty, man. Y'all see the title. We're gonna be talking about some other things too. You know what I'm saying? We got some things to say to the hoes, but Jen, what's good with it? You want to start it off, man? Go ahead.
What we doing the days? My day was pretty good. I got a lot of stuff taken care of. Some good news, great news. Actually, it was a great day. Actually, because I know I'm gonna be able to get into some money. So that's great news. Actually, great news. I'm not gonna even get to explaining all the great news because sometimes you gotta let the great news just manifest itself. But great news. Got a lot of stuff done. 5 out of 5 today because I'm still gonna go hoop. So 5 out of 5 today, baby.
That's a crazy rating. That's no mistakes, nothing. Everything was great, feeling amazing. So salute that. And today's Thursday, so that's a great Thursday right there. My day was good, solid day. I got off work early. I always love it when I get off work early because I can always be in the gym longer. So got an absolutely amazing workout. Creasing, I told y'all on the daily check-ins, y'all make sure y'all look out for that. And I see y'all bitch ass niggas, y'all coming at me for the roast one, but that's good. I want y'all to roast me. But I'm increasing my intensity like a mug when it comes to my workouts, and I've been loving it. So salute to that. I'm back at the crib. I'm chilling. You know what I'm saying? Gonna enjoy the rest of my night. My food's already here, all that good stuff. So, and tomorrow's Friday. It's gonna be probably a leisure Friday for me going into the weekend. I got some big plans. Oh, and next weekend I got an ATL trip planned. So I'm in good spirits. I'm gonna give it a 4.6 out of 5. God damn it. The only reason I'm not giving it a 5 because I haven't eaten yet. I have not eaten yet, but it's gonna be a 5 because I got Craig Facts to watch tonight. So
you gonna go see your kinfolk?
Yep, my mama coming out next weekend. My mama hit me and she was like, "Hey, yo, you know what I'm saying? Auntie Yako said y'all want to try and visit an ATL." She asked me if I'd be down. I said, "Of course. This is perfect timing." So,
of course,
yeah,
I've been wanting to get out the goddamn house.
I've been wanting to get out of Memphis. You know what I'm saying? So, hell yeah. So your boy going to ATL. I'm finna be lit. So. The only setback to that is Gervonta Davis versus Rolly Romero is next weekend. I am going to find a way to still be able to go live and us do our Fluence Lounge. I'm going to talk to my cousin. Hopefully I can just do it at his crib. I'm going to bring some, obviously some accessories to make sure I'll still be able to have the mic and all that good stuff. But I'm going to figure it out. But we are for sure doing
Friday?
that Fluence Lounge.
Y'all leaving Friday?
Friday, yeah. Either Friday when I pick up my mama from the airport, which is going to be at 1 a.m, which I'm probably not going to do. Or it's going to be in the morning, probably like around 7. We go out there. It's like a 5-hour drive or something like that. So I'm excited and I'm up for that joint. I've been to Atlanta before when I was a real young nigga, but since then I haven't. So I'm really excited. I'm going to make the most of it. This is the greatest time to go to Atlanta, in my opinion, because I'm not a broke nigga. So I could make the most of it. So salute to that. Excited for the weekend coming up. Friday's tomorrow. Yeah, man. I'm not going to lie, man. Life's been pleasantly pleasing. And I want to salute to the Black Goose TV family as well. I do want to appreciate y'all because, man, y'all been showing so much love this year. And I just want to appreciate y'all so much for that, man. And I just hope y'all keep showing love. I hope y'all keep supporting the channel. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure we keep bringing y'all content and giving y'all the authentic us. Y'all don't know we've been doing this for a minute, but so ain't nothing changed. You can go 3 years back. We was talking the same shit, maybe a little bit more politically correct. We got a little bit more in our bag as we gotten older and been doing this, a little bit more consistently, but we appreciate y'all and salute to y'all. So anybody come up in here, just know we ain't got nothing but love for y'all. We ain't sitting nothing but positive vibes and blessings towards you and your family. So salute to that. So Zen, anything you want to add to that? Anything you want to say? How you want to transition this joint? How you feeling right now? What's good? What's on your mind?
I had a lot. I got into a debate yesterday, and look, I know basketball, and I know about change, and I know about effect and all that. And I was this dude, he went into the chat trying to say that Steph was top 10 of all time. And I said, I disagree. He's not top 10 all time. And I named 10 to 11 players better than him. And he agreed with all of them, but Kevin Durant. I said, what? He said, I'm not taking Kevin Durant over Stephen Curry. I said, what? He said, Kevin Durant's a great scorer, but after that, he doesn't do anything. I said, interesting. I said, well, what is Steph besides being the best shooter?
That's what I was gonna ask. I'm like, okay.
He was like, he's a leader of the team and I said, well, yeah, he might be the leader, but I'm like, did he win without?
is he more so going into statistics or is he more so going into narratives that fit his position? We see Steph as a point guard, so we're like, oh, he's the leader of the team. He's great at passing. He involves everyone. When it's like, yeah, he's a point guard, but he doesn't do those things. I feel like a lot of people say that simply because, oh, Steph is a point, so yeah, he shoots really good, but he also is a leader of the team, and he facilitates the floor. He makes sure everyone has the great chemistry. Like I feel like that's the misconception when it comes to Stephen Curry. Like Stephen Curry is not the point god of the team like a Chris Paul. He's never.
Here we go. He was saying, my bad. I'm just trying to get to the. Hold on, I gotta answer the door. Keep talking.
Yeah. So he's gonna give us the evidence real quick. We're gonna bring Zen right back to it. But me personally, you know what I'm saying, when we talking about it, y'all can see my fucked up lines right there. I gotta get them fixed. I'm gonna do something about it. God damn it. Y'all leave me alone. But he's basically talking about, in my opinion, I'm like, I get that. I get when somebody says right off the bat, okay, Kevin Durant, technically, he's just a scorer. He's a great scorer. But then when they look at Steph Curry, they're like, okay, Steph Curry is more than a great scorer, right? Because a lot of times they look at it as, oh, he's in the point guard position. So if he's playing the point guard position, obviously he has to make sure he gets the team involved. He has to make sure everything is going the way it's supposed to go, et cetera, all those different type of things. So it's like, I understand that, okay? Off of the perception of what has been told to us and what has been laid out to us is regards to the foundation. Of course you think that. But if you watch the games and you see what the fuck is going on, Steph Curry is literally KD, but he's 6'2", 6'3".
So his thing was, he said, dog, we got to stop with this narrative. Steph don't play defense. He's a good defender. That's why I knew I had him beat. I said, oh, he a good defender, huh? I was waiting for him to hit. What? He said, good defender. Nobody is just going at Steph like that. When he did, and when they did, just ask Ja what happened game one. I'm thinking
Kyrie dogged that nigga out.
Bro, you don't
Steph didn't even want to guard Kyrie. You know how I feel about Kyrie, bro.
He didn't even want to guard Fred VanVleet, bro. He had Sean Livingston coming over to come guard him, man. Come on,
Does anybody, do people not realize that during the time of Steph, and this is not a shitting on Steph either. I think Steph is fucking dog. I think he's solid.
Yeah,
I think he's like top 15, top 20.
Yeah.
But to say he's better than KD is ridiculous, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, Steph does all the things KD can do, and KD does all the things Steph can do. That's all I'm saying.
But he was trying to say, because I was like, KD plays both ends of the ball. I'm like, and he was saying, why didn't he guard Giannis in the last playoffs? I'm like, so bro, out of all his career, you're gonna go to one playoff series. When I gave you multiple playoff series where Kyrie was not guarding he had no smoke for any other point guards. He only guards the shooters of the other teams. That's all he ever guards, bro. Somebody that's not gonna put the ball down.
Can we talk about the elephant in the room though?
What?
Defense doesn't matter. No one gives a fuck about defense in the last 5 to 10 years, right?
True.
I think we can't compare someone like KD to Kobe. Why? Kobe had to play defense.
Yeah. He
was a real two-way player. There's no two-way players now. The only two-way players are usually role players. Because there's no...
I mean, besides PG and Kawhi.
PG is not a two-way player. Neither is Kawhi.
But
they used to be.
They're on the first defensive teams, though. They was
I
on
don't
the
give a
last
fuck about rewards. It sounds good. It sounds great. Nobody's playing defense in today's NBA. Like, you can't tell me there's you know what I'm saying? The closest thing I'll see is the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler is a true two-way player. Jimmy Butler is a true two-way player because he was a defensive-minded person first. The only way you can be a true two-way player, in my opinion, is that you're heavily reliant on defense to begin with, and then you develop your offense. Defense isn't something that is all of a sudden you learn. Defense is something that's built in you.
Well, you can't say Kawhi's not a two-way player and Jimmy is, because I'm like, Kawhi, if you go look at the percentages when he guards people, they're very, very low.
I'm not saying Kawhi is a great defensive player at a certain time period in his career. When he was with the Spurs, he was very good defensively. And I think a lot of people, for me personally, I think there was a whole lot of bias with Kawhi. Kawhi, he ended up being with the Spurs. The Spurs is known as like the angels of the league. Greg Popovich, the system. Look at what Kawhi, how he's developed. Blah, blah, blah. Kawhi was a two-way player on the Spurs because the Spurs heavily relied on making sure that their defensive game plan was set. After that, that's my opinion. I'm like, hey, yo, he's an average. Like he played defense like everybody else. The nigga on the floor, he looked like he got the same defensive motherfucking capabilities as Paul George. So I'm like,
I think Giannis is a two-way player too.
See, I don't think that. It's like for me to see someone who's a two-way player is someone who would be willing to be like, I'll score 10 points and just play defense. That's a two-way player because that means you trust in your defense. You trust in your defense enough to affect the game enough when you get away. None of them niggas is doing that except Jimmy Butler.
Well, Giannis can't just not score points. Like his team relies on him to score points, though.
No,
like
that's
Jimmy's
not true.
team is built to where it's like he has scores all around him. Tyler Hero's coming off the bench, averaging 20.
That's not true. You saw what Chris Middleton did last year, right?
He started.
Giannis was injured, so he has guys that can definitely take over and make sure that shit gets done. That needs to be done.
But you can't say Jimmy Butler. Why are you so harped on Jimmy Butler? Like, what is he doing? He's averaging 20 points a game as well. So it's not like he's solely focused on defense.
Because there has been games where he's solely focused on defense. There's games where he's had like 12 points. And he's like, I ain't tripping about my points. Why? Because I know I'm effective in other areas. I know I'm guarding this dude up and ain't doing what he's supposed to do. And I'm making sure that the play and the way it's getting rolled around ain't happening the way it's supposed to be. Someone who does that tells me you are defensive-minded first, offense second. That's a two-way player. A two-way player cannot be offensive-minded first and defensive second. That can't happen. That's just not possible because you're not predicating enough attention on defense. Defense is such a.
But Kobe was more of an offensive-minded guy than he was defensive. But you just called him a two-way player.
But that's why I said you can't compare eras though, because defense mattered during that time. There's games where it could be 89-90 going into the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. So defense mattered. You couldn't just. It was very rare you would have a team where I can shoot 4 or 5 threes in a row, and it went from a 20-point game now to an 8-point game. And I'm not saying a defense has been taken away because people can't play defense now. I just think the game has changed so much where it's just like you can't guard certain shit. So
yeah,
I'm like during
guard certain shit for sure.
Yeah, so I'm saying back then I'm like the reason why I'm saying you can't match up eras that way is because the game was different there. In order for you to be considered a great during Kobe's era, Michael Jordan era, even LeBron's era during, back then, you had to be able to play defense. We had to be like, hey, yo, if you playing Kobe, if it's LeBron versus Kobe, we got to see at least over 10 possessions of them niggas guarding each other. We're like, what the fuck going on? Nowadays, it's not like that. It's team defense. It's team offense. So I'm like, there's no two-way player. And there hasn't been any that's came in. That's not a role player. I'm saying Jimmy Butler because even Jimmy Butler came from an era before this one came into play, but he's continued it because I can stand on the fact that he came in as a defensive player and he developed his offense. And that's why there's moments where he doesn't mind taking a step back. That's why there's moments he doesn't mind being like, if everyone else is going to shoot and score, because I'm like, you said Tyler Hero was getting 20 off the bench. That's amazing. But who the fuck is Tyler Hero? You know what I'm saying?
He just got 6 Man of the Year.
Who the fuck is Tyler Hero? That's my point. I'm like, the team is created to complement each other when it comes to Miami Heat. It's not like there's a whole bunch of superstars type shit. So if Jimmy's willing to be like, hey, if I score 10, 12 points, it's not no big deal, but I'm going to be relying on my defense, that's a true two-way player. You don't see that from anybody else. Kawhi's not going to do that. Paul George isn't going to do that. Like the guys that they say, and this is my opinion, you know what I'm saying? I'm very biased. That's how it seems. But you also know, I'm coming from a bias where, I feel like Kawhi's overrated. So I might be coming at. But go ahead. I talked enough.
No, you good. I was just making points. I'm just like, if you're going to say Jimmy, I'm like, I seen Kawhi in the 2019 playoffs guard everybody. He was guarding Jimmy. He was guarding KD before KD got hurt. He was guarding Steph. He was guarding Ben Simmons. He was guarding anybody that was supposed to be their guy. Besides, Embiid, you're not going to guard no center. But I'm just saying he was guarding guys that were supposed to be phenomenal, whatever, and he was doing that. I mean, that's what my eyes were seeing. I watched every game of those playoffs. So that's what I was seeing. You feel me? So I'm like, well, I don't disagree with you with Jimmy. I think Jimmy could be a superstar. It's just he doesn't carry himself in a way where the public, Because
he's a true two-way player. The public doesn't see two-way players as superstars. What two-way player have you ever seen? Have you ever seen anybody who was defensively minded first? And now their offense say, oh, he's a superstar. There's no credit to niggas who play defense in the league. So unless you 7 feet, unless you a big man, I don't give a fuck what you're doing defensively. I can't measure, nigga, you sliding left and right and making sure you doing everything. I can't measure that. I need to see blocks and steals. If I don't see that, everything else is irrelevant. So I'm like, the way I look at it is like they're always going to discredit Jimmy Butler. They're always going to say, oh, he's not necessarily in the essence or in the upper echelons of a Giannis and etc. Because there's a game where he only scored 10 points, but no one's going to acknowledge what he did defensively. The reason they won is because he scored 10 points, but defensively he was such a goddamn nuisance. It allowed them to be in a position where he didn't have to do that much, and his teams can take care of it. But no, if you're a superstar, you got to score 30 points every game. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, but that's this era now, though. I'm like, back when we talking about Kobe, I know Kobe had crazy games, stuff like that. I'm like, there would be games maybe wouldn't be as crazy. 21 points, 7 of 31, 7 of 21, bad shooting night, 2 of 8 from the threes. But they won. How'd they win? Kobe shot terrible. You didn't see what he did on the defensive side. Kobe was a menace on the defensive side. But nobody talks about that. Kobe was like, to this day, if you're talking about someone who's in the top, like for really in the top 10, top 15, who can you name other than Kobe right now who literally took defense as serious as he did?
Just Jordan, for real.
And that's going to a different era, basically.
Because Jordan was only guard what? Besides what? He was the first guard. No, he wasn't the first guard, but first superstar guard to win the award.
You think Joe Dumars would have gotten any credit in today's league?
Shit, not even better. Ron Artest would.
Oh, beautiful. That was actually even a better point of mine. So I'm like, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, today's league is
Ron
so
Artest had locks. I don't care nobody say. I used to watch Ron. Ron was
great offense too. Think about it. But he was the type of person like similar to a Jimmy. He would go to certain teams and maybe not perform. Like maybe not have crazy. Jimmy's better than Ron. I'm not saying that, but
I don't know. Ron was cold, boy.
Jimmy's better than Meta. He's better than Meta. Meta was cold. Meta's a cold motherfucker, but Jimmy's just you know what I'm saying.
I think his defense, I think Ron's defense is better than Jimmy, in my opinion, because he had to guard way better guards.
I agree with that. His defense was better, but I think Jimmy offensively is better.
Because I've never seen Paul Pierce get locked up like that in the 2010 finals. He was getting locked up by Ron. I was like, man, he got Paul Pierce in a straitjacket.
I remember we did the James. I remember the Rockets series where Ron was going crazy against who was it? LA? No, it was LA. Who was it?
Yeah, it was LA. Yep.
And he was just shooting threes out the ass and D'ing motherfuckers up. Like they ended up losing, but that nigga Ron Artest was going crazy.
Remember, he got ejected though. He got a Kobe face.
So
I remember that.
It's just different eras, really, when it comes to it. Like it's hard for me. I don't like comparing the eras because the game's changed so much. The game is so offensive minded now. It's like no one's really playing defense. That's why I appreciate Jimmy Butler so much because he's one of the few. And when I say playing defense, I mean 1 through 3. 1 through 3 is very rare you see him playing defense. It's a lot of times it's just switch, put a hand in the face, run the fuck down the court fast enough so you can be in position to catch a shoot. You know, it's like there's not too much emphasis on we got to stop them from making the shot more so than we got to make sure whenever the shot goes up, we got to make sure we're back in position in a certain amount of time so we can make sure our offense gets off. Like that's how I think that the game has changed so tremendously because everything is moving like this. So there's not much time really to be like, oh, we finna be defensive wizards because niggas is coming down the court like bow, 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 bow type shit.
So, okay. So basically you're saying you're going to take KD over Steph. That's what you were.
Yeah. Why wouldn't I?
Oh, I'm telling you what people were telling me, man. They were saying, okay, because KD just a great scorer, blah, blah, blah. I'm taking Steph. Without KD going to the Warriors, he'd be nothing. He had to go join Steph. You know,
we're talking about chips, right?
I was just talking about the player in itself. I wasn't really talking about necessarily accolades. I'm just talking about player for player.
That doesn't make any sense, though. That's not a valid argument to say that KD would never be nothing if he never went to the Warriors because he was. Niggas was mad when he went to the Warriors because we knew how good he was.
Well, they were saying he couldn't win without going to the Warriors. That was his argument.
We're talking about rings.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different argument because rings has to do with team.
Well, my whole argument against him was, I'm like, bro, Steph played on one of the best teams ever. 73-9. Like he's been on the best team. Like he didn't win without Draymond, Steph, Draymond, Clay, and Iggy. You feel me? I'm just talking about those were the 3 core though. Like you talking about every championship, those 3 was on every team.
A lot of people think Steph Curry is the actual point guard during those times.
Yeah, Sean Livingston, he was money.
Livingston was the point guard, people. Please go back and watch. Steph was Steph is literally Rip Hamilton, but he can shoot threes.
Yes, but
Tell
I'm
me I'm
just
wrong.
saying they just.
Same fucking game.
But
It's
he
the
was
same
trying to
game.
say, I was like, well, why doesn't Steph have any MVPs? He's like, well, because he just started making some excuses. I'm just like, no, bro, he didn't get the finals MVPs because he wasn't as valuable as, you could see who was more valuable when the time came. When the first championship came, it was Iggy, because without Iggy, y'all don't win that. LeBron was going too
LeBron would
crazy.
have went over, because
He'd averaged 45 points a game.
Because Steph was getting eaten the fuck up by Kyrie.
No, Deli Dova, that first ring. Remember, Kyrie got hurt. It was Deli.
No, but he play like the first 2 games or some shit like that.
Just the first game.
Yeah, the first game he got eaten the fuck up by Kyrie. He got eaten up. When Cavs won and they came back from the 3-1 or whatever this shit was, Kyrie ate him up every game.
Yeah,
Steph's defense is trash. Steph has never been a defensive player.
You don't gotta tell me, man. The fact that he had to say, "Go ask Ja," I said, so out of all the playoffs Steph been into, you got to go to one little block.
Ja ate that nigga up too. What does that even mean?
I don't know.
That nigga Ja got injured. He dropped a 40 ball on this nigga.
Hey, bro, you don't gotta explain to me. I'm already knowing the narrative. I already know his defense is poo butt.
He dropped a 40 ball on this nigga, and Ja's 23 years old, cuz. Like, what? 22. Like, he dropped a 40 ball, but he locked Ja up.
Look, bro, I'm telling you the narrative I was hearing, right? So then I go and then I switch it to AI. I said, look, bro, I'll take AI over Steph. They're like, all right, now you crazy. I said, why am I crazy? I'm like, AI is a dog. I'm like, Steph couldn't play in the era AI played in. They like, why couldn't he? He could shoot. I'm like, that's fine. But I'm like, dudes back then were really like defensive minded. Like, they're not gonna let Steph just come up and just getting them threes off.
You know what's going? This might sound funny. You know, I just said Steph is basically an enhanced Rip Hamilton. He can shoot threes. Steph wouldn't have been able to do what Rip done during his time. You want to know why? Because they have very similar patterns when it comes to how they play off ball. Just anybody doesn't believe me, just go ahead. Y'all can look up the film. Steph is a guy, he moves, back screens, moves till he can get open. He gets the ball, dribbles, goes around the screen, dribble till he can get, and he have enough room so he can get a shot off, right? Very similar to what Rip Hamilton did. Just Rip Hamilton did it mid-range.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why Steph wanted to be able to do what Rip Hamilton was during the reason why Steph Curry wanted to be able to do what Rip Hamilton did during his era, the main reason is because of the physicality. Oh, of course you're going to say the physicality. No, nigga, it's not just the physicality, it's the size. Rip Hamilton was 6'7", nigga. So you just can't push him off those screens. You can't. You can play physical with me when I'm off the ball, but it's not going to matter as much because, nigga, I'm 6'7". Talking about this. Steph is going to get pushed the fuck off of them screens. Simple as that.
Like I was telling him, I'm like, look, don't get me wrong. Steph probably will get busy some games. He might get 40, 45. He might go crazy with some threes. But I'm like, he's not going to just kill you night in, night out because they're going to game plan for, okay, we got to just make sure Steph Curry doesn't get the ball. And you already know if Steph don't make threes, he look weak out there. I'm talking about weak.
I think Steph is a really great player. I just think we have a misconception of him because we're so heavily relying on threes in today's game. And so we think because he can shoot from whatever era he goes in, he's going to be able to do the same exact thing. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense because you basically telling me.
But you also got to think, you got to have the ego to do that. I'm like, I don't think, like, think about it. The league's been trying to get the three popping and popular for the longest time. It's not just, you feel me? Steph made it to where it was like, okay, now we can change it and say, look how valuable the three is. You get me? But back in the 2000s, bro, Gilbert Arenas was shooting that distance, bro. What is people talking about? I remember Gilbert used to pull up crazy deep and he used to say like he was stupid shooting those threes. Remember?
I don't think people realize that how fragile Steph was in like the first 5-6 years of his career.
Bro, he's always injured, bro. He was playing like 30 games.
And when he was there, it was still the transition of the basketball league transitioning from how rough it was to more what it was now, where it leaned towards three-pointer. You don't think none of that had to do with his success?
And I'm just like, AI led the league in minutes 8 times, bro. He was playing 43 minutes a game, playing 78 games, bro. Hurt, though. It's not like he was playing. You already know AI was always hurt.
And this isn't me, but for anybody who's gonna watch this back, whatever the case may be, this isn't me being capped and like I'm going at Steph. I actually told Chandler Zen before we started this joint that I had to think about it when it came to Steph and AI. Like I'm not just outright choosing AI. I actually chose Steph first, but then Zen reminded me, he was like, wait, but AI took the 76ers, a bum ass team, all the way to the finals to go against the Lakers. It's like, well, damn, Steph never did that. And people go, oh, wait, Steph has all these championships, but Steph every time had a group of motherfuckers who will make sure when he fucks up, they'll take care of it. AI never had that, but he was still able to get to the finals. So it's like you have to put that into perspective. But you also have to put into perspective would AI have been able to gel with other superstars to allow him to go further? So there's that question as well. It's like
I think so, because he went to a big college in Georgetown and did fine, went far in the tournament. It's not like he played with jalops over there. Those was high talented recruits. So it's like, I think he could. People just are so, well, he was averaging 30 because he was selfish. I'm like, no, he was averaging 30 because his second best player was Dikembe Mutombo, and he never averaged more than 13 points in his whole career. So
I'm one of them niggas too to argue that his second best, not player, but scorer was Aaron
McGee, and he averaged 11 points.
Aaron McKee, he would have his nights, but
yeah,
but y'all right now, he probably wouldn't be in the NBA.
Thompson.
If he was in the NBA, if we and now he's in the draft for today's NBA, I don't know if he would make it. If he did make it, he'd be getting like 10 minutes a game. He wouldn't be a starter. Let's just be honest.
I'm trying to.
And McKee, I love you, Nick. But also Eric Snow was on that team as well. And we all know who the fuck Eric Snow is. Eric Snow was one of them niggas I used to watch. I used to be like, I know I can make it in the league if this nigga makes it. I swear to God, bro. I used to see Eric Snow. I used to be like, nigga, I swear to God, I'm finna get in the NBA. Look at this nigga. But I respect you, Snow. I was disrespecting you.
But you get what I'm saying? I'm like, he had Theo Ratliff. I'm not Theo Ratliff. He had a Tyrone Hill.
Right. I think
no, Tyrone Hill.
Now Theo Ratliff was he's a
and he had
player.
Samuel Dallenberg. Like, come on, dude. Like, Steph Curry has 3 Hall of Famers. Like, I think Iggy might get in there now.
Tyrone Hill is crazy.
Clay's gonna get in there for sure. Draymond's going for sure. KD's going for sure. Like, he's had Hall of Famers. That's 4 Hall of Famers I just named, bro.
Iggy's going.
How many Hall of Famers did AI play with, bro? I guess you could say Iggy, but he had Iggy when he was a rookie, when he wasn't even polished.
No, I said Iggy's going for Steph. Iggy ain't going with AI. Fuck out of here.
No, I'm saying
this shit.
No, I'm saying Iggy is going to go to the Hall of Fame, I think.
That's what I was saying. I was adding that to the. Oh, I don't know if you said it already. My bad. I probably missed it.
Yeah. I'm saying I don't count Iggy with AI because I said he was a rookie. I
was saying Iggy with Steph.
Yeah. I'm saying they both. But AI played with Iggy too in Philly.
Yeah.
So I'm saying he wasn't polished though. That was rough version. That was just all athleticism.
Iggy didn't become Iggy until after AI left. Actually, a lot of people don't know. A lot of y'all don't know how great Iggy was supposed to be. Iggy was looked at as the next LeBron when AI left. Everyone thought Iggy was going to be as great as LeBron was. People don't know that.
No, Iggy was good.
He was, but the expectations they had from him and how he played, they thought he was going to be the next LeBron. He wasn't. But Iggy was a guy that Iggy was more like a Sean Marion, in my opinion. Better than Sean Marion, but his role was shit. Y'all see what Jimmy Butler's doing now? That was Iggy. Two-way player to the fullest. Guard and then come down and give you a 30 ball, 25 ball.
Iggy could score. It's not like he was buns. Like, he could really score that joint in his prime.
And Iggy had a worse team than Jimmy. So that was back when everything was a lot more heavily separated. We got to disagree up in there. You got somebody else over there got an opinion, man. Bring him in. You got something to say? Shit. Go Green said I would have to respectfully disagree. I don't think he was the next LeBron. What people thought that great defender, though. I thought Iggy, personally, I thought when Iggy was doing his thing on the 76ers, there was a lot of comparisons to Iggy and LeBron during that time.
Low key, I remember that a little bit. Like, it's just Bron was just bigger.
That's it. And if you really think about it, it wasn't like crazy because I'm like, Iggy was 6'6", 6'6",
I mean, if you look at the numbers, besides averaging maybe 27 points or 26 points a game, he averaged 6 rebounds or 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. Like, he was having
like 3 to 4 years, but that nigga was crazy.
Yeah. Even when he went to Denver for that 1 year, I was like, yo, like, he looking crazy over here in the Nuggets. And then when he went to the Golden State, I was like, oh, that's unfair. That's what I thought. I thought it was unfair when he went to the Golden State. But at that time, people wasn't even understanding how good Iggy was. People was just like, oh, okay, they got him. Iggy, what does that mean? I'm like, okay. So they got him.
We're talking about a different era. We're not talking about an era where YouTube and internet and shit, we're talking about Tyler Hero. You know what I'm saying? During our time, ain't nobody talking about no goddamn Tyler Hero. You feel me? I'm like, even though he's a 6th man of the year, he's coming off doing his thing. No one was talking about that shit because we don't have all these different media outlets, internet outlets to hype somebody up to make them bigger than what they are. A lot of times, all we had was whatever the fuck was put on the TV, and that's what we see. And so we always just predicate. Or remember magazines, slam magazines and shit. So, excuse me. So I'm like, when it came to that particular instance, Iggy did not get the credit he deserved because look at the team he was on. Once AI left.
So think about that. Iggy doesn't get his credit, right? Because of the team he was on, but AI was on that same team way before with Derek Coleman. People don't even remember Derek Coleman, bro.
Yeah, that was a great. That's beautifully done. Yeah, I agree with you.
But see, this is the only reason I give, because I'm like, if you put Steph on the 76ers team and you put AI on that Golden State team, I guarantee you they're gonna get to the finals and they could possibly still win that series. Because I'm like, who's gonna guard AI? Ain't no Dellavedova gonna make AI get 4 points. I put that on my last dollar.
I'll never crazy shit. Well, not no, but AI and Draymond Green works better together than Steph Curry and Draymond Green, in my opinion.
Come on, man. And people don't understand that Draymond is probably one of the best setup guys I've ever seen. Like, he puts people in the positions where they need to be. Like, he's a great ass decoy. Even though he might be weak to the masses, he's a great ass passer, and he knows how to get them guys open shots. He knows how to draw the defense. He knows how to set the little screen to the drop to the everything's all on the money if you watch.
By the way, everybody who gives Draymond Green props, you guys should be giving the same props to Marcus Smart. That's the same player, just 6'4". So I just want to say that randomly. Go Green
in the Heat right now. It's crazy.
I'm not surprised because Smart is back, huh?
And Al Horford.
It's not the Heat are going to lose. But Go Green said, we talking about an 18-year-old and someone playing with 4 years in college, or was it 3? I think it was 3. I give you that. I'm like, when you talk about the specifics there, we're talking about LeBron coming out. I'm not putting him on the same level. Y'all see that? I had that since I was a young nigga, right?
He's just making a point that they had similarities in their games.
And people during that time, I do remember, because I was a LeBron fan, I do remember saying Iggy was very similar to Bron at the time. He was 6'6" and doing a lot of things he was doing. So we're not taking away. I think he was above average player and a great defender. He was missing something. I don't know what it is, though. I think personally what Iggy was missing was that his consistency to take over the game where they can get the W. That was the problem. And then also another problem also was who was surrounded by him. I remember that 76ers team. I remember it. And he didn't really have that much help. I'm not saying if he did have help, shit would change. But I do remember that. Go Green said they're coming to play with Syracuse and Collins stopped playing. And when the Sixers game, he was on the down slope. He revived his career. I want to say Draymond's the engine to that team is a hybrid Dennis Rodman. I agree with that. I'm like, Draymond's going to end up being a Hall of Famer. My thing is this. I'm like, we giving Draymond all this credit, but I'm like, ain't nobody talk about what Marcus Smart do. I'm like, Marcus Smart is literally Draymond Green on the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, and he's got
6'4". Whenever you a shorter nigga, niggas just be like, okay.
You got Defensive Player of the Year this year, but
that don't mean nothing. You know how long niggas disrespected Marcus Smart and said that nigga did not. Niggas would be like, why do you play defense so good, nigga? Develop your jumper.
But that's what I was going to give his credit. I said in that 2020 playoffs is when Marcus Smart said, "I'm here." People don't remember that because Boston ended up losing that series to Miami. But he was, "I'm here." That's when Marcus Smart was going 7 for 7. He was hitting like 8 threes, 6 threes.
He's the dog on that team. It's not Jason Tatum. It's not Jaylen Brown. It's Marcus Smart. If they don't have Marcus Smart, I'm telling you right now, Boston's not that good. They still like playoff worthy and all that type of shit. I just mean like to get over the hump.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I'm like, every team has that engine. Like, you got to think about guys like Bron, Kobe, and Jordan. They were really the engine of their team. You get me? Whoever else was on their team, besides Shaq. But you get what I'm saying? Like, but like, you feel me? Like when Shaq left, you could see like, well, without Kobe, if Kobe don't get it going, this team got no shot. If Bron don't get it going, this team don't got no shot. If Jordan don't get it going, this team don't got no shot. Like, you can't say that with everybody. Like, if Jaylen Brown has a terrible game, they can still win.
It don't matter. They can still win. Yes. If Jason Tatum has a bad game, they can still win.
But if Marcus Smart don't play, they lose game 1.
So I'm like, that's what I'm saying. But that's why I talk
about. If Draymond Green don't play, they'll lose. But
that's why I say you can't compare eras to extent because of that. Because I'm like, people want to just people want to say the two-way player doesn't exist anymore. People want to discredit the two-way player. But when you look at these teams that have developed a certain type of chemistry and have like, okay, this is your position, this is your role, this is your role. The foundation of the team, there's always that two-way player that matters immensely because they need it. They need a nigga who's going to be able to be like, yeah, I want to get a bucket and I can get a bucket, but I'm gonna go ahead and make sure this motherfucker can't score because that's so far and few between nowadays. Like that's just a fact. I'm like, Marcus Smart is a people are not going to talk about Marcus Smart like that unless he's injured. Oh, well, he's injured now. Now they need him. But when he's playing, no one's talking about him. They're talking about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, Al Horford. When in reality, in that last motherfucking series, nigga, against Brooklyn, Marcus Smart made Kyrie look like he didn't know what the fuck was going on out there. Hey. He even had KD on some lock'ems at times.
Facts. But what's it called? So I just want to get the point that he tried to make. Yeah, he said Steph can't help that the front office did a great job building around him. He almost made the playoffs with the bottom of the barrel team last year, bro. I'm like, but he didn't make it. So that you can't say almost. That's like saying AI.
Did he
almost
say bottom of the barrel team last year? What's the difference about their team last year than this year?
Clay, about it.
What's the difference about their team last year than this year?
Just Clay.
So how the fuck we talking about a bottom of the barrel team?
That bro,
you gonna disrespect Jordan Poole like that? That nigga cold to the motherfucker.
You gonna disrespect Andrew Wiggins like that?
Shit, there you go. So I'm like, why you?
But see, you get what I'm saying. This is why I wanted to bring it to the podcast because I was just like, what he was saying just doesn't make sense. He said, "What you mean? If it wasn't for the play-in and Draymond smoking a layup, they would have been in the playoffs." Again, we got to stop with AI had a trash team. AI had dogs on his team that hustled and defend.
Huh?
I'm like, what dogs, bro?
Even if they were dogs and they hustle and defend it, like you cannot say, oh, Steph had Clay, Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, but AI had dogs. You know what I'm saying? He had Aaron McKee, he had Eric Snow, he had Tyrone Hill. All them niggas played hard every time they hit the court.
Like you can't name now one nigga on the team that could even check Kobe on his worst night.
Like what the fuck is people talking about? Like I'm like, nigga, I watched that shit. That nigga's team, and it's not being disrespectful, but let me say this. Let me phrase it in a very respectful way. His role players did not come close to the role players on Golden State. You want to know why? Because Golden State didn't have role players in their starting five. They had legitimate superstars. Clay, he can be on his own team. Jordan Poole, I ain't know it, but he can be on his own team. Andrew Wiggins, he can be on his own team. Draymond Green's probably the only dude who can't be on his own team, and we just don't know that yet. We really don't know how good Draymond is, because Draymond has accepted his role, and he don't got no ego to try and prove anything differently. But who knows? Draymond can go on a different team. He can go to Minnesota and be him and Cat, and them niggas average 20. You know, he averaged 20 and 10, and Cat averaged 30. You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows? Facts. If Aaron McKee goes on a different team, he ain't doing shit.
We already know Eric Snow ain't doing shit.
I know. He
was weak.
Nigga was still averaging 3 points a game. And every time I saw that nigga, I was like, I swear to God, I can make the league. Look at
and
this.
He was talking about Mutombo. He said Mutombo was defensive player of the year. I said, do you know Mutombo was 35 years old, averaged 10 points a game?
He was out of his prime. Like AI got the out of his prime to Dikembe Mutombo. People don't talk about that. Like Dikembe Mutombo was at the end of his fucking career when he got him.
Like, come on, man.
Think about if you got an Atlanta Hawks prime Dikembe.
Bro, he was really trying to make that 76ers team like they would. I'm like, go play with him on 2K and let's see if you go get a dub.
That nigga Dikembe, when he did the
the rating
on the Sixers, that nigga's finger looked old as hell.
Bro, like, do you know what the rating is on 2K for that 2001 76ers team, bro? Is AI at 94. The next best player is a 79 at Dikembe Mutombo. The next best player is Aaron McKee at 77. And then you got George Lynch at 74. I'm like, how is he supposed to?
About George Lynch.
And Rajah Bell was on the team. He was a 68.
Rajah Bell, the only time he was relevant was he was on the Suns.
So you get what I'm saying? So I'm like, you're telling me
he shouldn't have been relevant on the Suns. He was relevant on the Suns because that nigga would get lit up by Kobe, and they tried to make it seem like he did a good defensive job.
And then he tried to bring up Steve Nash and say, well, Steve Nash cared in that era. What you think Curry would do? I'm just like, bro, what is you talking about? Steve Nash wasn't predicated on trying to score the basketball. Steve Nash was a floor general. He led the league in assists multiple years. He made Amari Stoudemire and Sean Marion's career.
Those are literally two different play styles. That's like me saying, if Anthony Joshua fought this guy, he gonna do the same thing that Usyk did. Like, no, nigga, these are two different styles. Styles make matchups. It's the same thing when it comes to basketball. Nash's style during that era matched perfectly. Why? Because he was a facilitator at the point guard. At that time, the position you were in, they expected you to fulfill those duties. Now it's positionless basketball.
Fact.
Steph can be a point guard, but he doesn't do anything a point guard does.
He runs off screens and catches his shit like a shooting guard.
He's Rip Hamilton in 2023. But a lot of y'all niggas don't want to go back and watch what Rip Hamilton used to do. Tell me the difference other than the fact that he's shooting threes, nigga.
And Kobe hated guarding Rip. And you know Kobe was a great
Everyone
defender.
did, because this nigga would just run the fuck around. If y'all watch the fucking, like, yo, Sean Livingston was the point guard for Golden State Warriors during those times. It wasn't Steph.
Oh, even Iggy at times, bro. Or Dre. I seen Draymond and Iggy had a ball more than I seen Steph bring the ball up, bro.
When has this nigga Steph ever averaged 20 and 10?
Never.
And is that hard to, well, let me take that back. How many point guards, great point guards, have we seen average 15 plus 10 assists?
Multiple of them.
The Hall of Famers and legends of the point guard position, correct?
Yeah.
So let's not act like we're in a positionless basketball game now. We can't have the same type of measuring scale as we had before. Everything is different now. Go Green said, no, AI didn't have any dogs. He had bullies. That's a fact. He had a whole bunch of just bullies. Go Green. Snow did well with Cleveland. We needed him because Ratliff got hurt. He did do well with Cleveland. I'm not taking away from Eric Snow, but what I'm saying about Eric Snow is that nigga would not be in the NBA if he tried to get in the NBA today.
No.
That nigga didn't shoot good. Nigga wasn't overly athletic. His thing was he fit into his role very well. You can't be in this game nowadays. Just fit into your role very well. Nigga, you got to be able to shoot when you're ready and play team ball.
But it's crazy, though, because I kept bringing up the physicality aspect to him. And this the OG in the chat, he was like, nah, I agree with Chan's saying. Like, that physicality is different. Like AI was, I'm like, bro, AI was getting thrown on the ground every other play, bro. Like, there wasn't rules to help the shooter like they do now. Like, oh, if you do this, it's automatic foul. If you do this, like back then, like you could like come underneath the shooter, he'd twist his ankle, and they just keep playing. They not gonna stop the game, bro. They like, oh shit, you should have looked where you was landing, nigga.
They would call you soft if you tried to stop the game for that shit. Like, nigga, you soft ass nigga, get the fuck up.
And then I was like, AI was giving Kobe buckets in his prime. He was like, wasn't Steph giving Kobe buckets? I'm like, no. And if he was, Kobe was on his last leg in his career, year 17. Like, so you're gonna say Steph year 7 going against Kobe in a year 17 was giving him, like, bro, get up out of here, bro.
It bugs me to this day because it's a what have you done for me lately is like, oh, wasn't Steph getting Kobe buckets? It's like people automatically think, oh yeah, Steph was playing while Kobe was playing, so obviously he was doing the same thing he was doing now against Kobe. It's like, nah, like all you got to do is just Google the shit. Like, Steph didn't really come into his own really until the past like what 5 or 6 years.
He didn't come into his own, bro, until they got to their first finals, bro. And why? Bro. When that happened? When they got Iguodala. Like,
that's the past what 5 or 6 years, I would say. I might be off a little bit, but I'm like, it's around
6-7 years ago, bro. Because he went
and 6-7 years ago, Kobe was on his way out. So I'm like, these comparisons are very, very. They just can't. You can't do that. By the way, I did want to say this real quick. I dropped a video for Rolly yesterday. I was trolling everybody. I said he's juiced up. It was a joke, and it seemed like a lot of people didn't understand the joke, but it was a joke. But I'm gonna get that. Go ahead, my bad. Go get back. He said Woodhead. May rain. Oh yeah, real quick. Go Green. You said Susan. I'm pretty sure that's the typo. You said Susan had good defense and it was well coached for the superstar and AI. I think he meant the Sixers. The Sixers had good defense and it was well coached for the superstar. Yeah, because
Larry Brown's a Hall of Fame coach. I don't care. Nobody said Larry Brown went from the Sixers to the Detroit Pistons and ended up winning the championship. He went to
Larry Brown is a legend. Yeah. So he had the perfect coach, but at the same time, it's just eras are different. I was like, back then, you didn't build your team to have as many guys that were as good as they can be in certain positions. You built your team where you had 1 or 2 superstars and then you had role players. You don't build your team that way now. You build your team so you can have the personal complements, the stylistic game plan that I have set as a coach. So that's different. So you can have a lot more better players because you're not focused on, oh, I need AI and I need to build around him. No, you're like, let me get this guy because he's really good at this. Let me get this guy. He's really good at this. This guy's really good at this. This guy's really good at this. And now we build this nucleus and we just follow the game plan.
But you know what's even crazier, bro? AI played defense. I'm not saying he was the great lockdown defender, but he's like, okay, I might not be able to physically because I'm lighter than everybody, but he led the league in steals 4 times. He was getting 10 steals a game sometimes, 9 steals. Like, you go, he's in the record books for steals. So I'm like, he was playing other parts of the game to still contribute to their defense. Yep. You give me like I ain't never seen Steph average get 5 steals in a game. But yet somebody's gonna say he's a great defender. I'm just like, I'm not saying steals necessarily always equate to that, but I'm saying he's not. Okay, bro, if you're gonna go guard a shooter, you gotta learn. Okay, let me go hit it. Let me get a pass and let me get sneaky one time. Let me come. He's not even on that. He's like, I'm gonna just come down and shoot a 3.
And we've seen Steph in the biggest moments. Like, you're not guarding the best player on the court. Not as like, I don't want to see you guard LeBron, but shit, guard Kyrie. You didn't guard Kyrie.
He ain't never guarded nobody, bro. He couldn't even guard VanVleet, bro.
He never guard Westbrook. And when you chose to guard Westbrook, right? When Westbrook had that beef with KD and he chose over Westbrook, what did Westbrook do every time they played you? He said, you want me, Steph? And he embarrassed your ass. And they made sure to take you off of him. Like, I know a lot of people want to shit on the eye test nowadays because we have statistics and we have, you can go back in time and look at this and all that type of stuff. That's cool, but hey, shit, fuck out of here, man. The eye test is always going to get me right. You want to know why? Because this goddamn eye, this motherfucker is what got me through life to this point. Exactly. If it wasn't for this eye, I wouldn't be where the fuck I am. So when I look at this shit and I look at Steph, I'm like, brother, you are a beast. And you know I'm not being biased because, nigga, I had Steph Curry's motherfucking poster in my room when I was a nigga under 18, when I was a young nigga. I had the Davidson picture when that nigga looked like a little ass kid. I had him next to Kalen Lucas. So I've been a fan of Steph Curry since back then. I'm an older nigga now. So this is not me shitting on him. This is not me trying to discredit what he's done. I'm just being 100% honest. And when you just look at the landscape of how things have changed, you can't discredit that. And I think a lot of people discredit that just because why do I need to go back and look at history when I can look at what's now and base my judgment off of what's now? And now the argument becomes tainted because it's like you're basing it off of something where you're only talking about what your knowledge is rather than educating yourself enough to be like, oh, okay, I can see where you're coming from because I know what happened during this time. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, bro.
Nah, it's all what you're doing for me. Because I'm just like, just because, like you said, I'm not biased. You know, I like Steph too. I knew about Steph since his sophomore year at Davidson. You know what I'm saying? Before he even blew up on a national scale, like I was watching his games at Davidson. So I'm like, I've been a Steph Curry fan, but I'm like, the illusion because he changed the game in a sense where now 3-pointers are more important than getting a 2. It definitely does not mean that he's better than a guy like Allen Iverson when he had so much adversity he had to overcome. I'm like, people don't understand the adversity. That's why when people want to put Bill Russell top 10, I don't necessarily go against it just because I'm like, he did a lot for our culture as a people. You feel me? Like because they had like a little clip the other night. He was saying like Bill Russell, he was on the court. He was doing so many phenomenal things for this basketball team. But as soon as he stepped off the court, he just was a regular black man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, to have to deal with that injustice back then, but you're playing for one of the most prominent organizations in history, but you're not treated the same.
Don't also add behind prominent racist. Boston. Yeah. So prominent and most racist organizations, racist cities. Boston is one of the most racist cities. It's not me. I'm not the guy, but that's the proven fact. So
you know what I'm saying? So like when I see a Bill Russell in the top 10, I don't even fight it. I'm not gonna say, well, because he was in that
number one, nigga.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying? I'm not gonna fight that narrative because of what he had, because adversity always has to be equated to I'm like, what adversity did Steph have to overcome? There was never any adversity. He's never had somebody saying, oh, don't do this or don't do that. They embraced him shooting them threes. They're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But when Gilbert Arenas did it, he was crazy. You feel me? Reggie Miller, he had to just basically be so automatic that they had to allow him to keep shooting threes like that.
Yeah, I want to talk about how much of a saint Steph Curry is. How much, that nigga ran Monte Ellis out of Golden State. Everything you see Steph doing, Monte was doing, and he got criticized. Oh, this nigga's supposed to be a point guard, and this nigga taking all these shots, and he pulling up, and he not involving nobody. But this nigga Monte was getting 30 balls, regular.
Yeah, Monte was cold.
Regulars. Steph came in, they said, look, Monte, I like you a lot. You're doing your thing, but we want this young boy Steph to be the guy. And they made the right choice in the investment, but they also understood the game was changing. People got to understand, when you were in control of something, you were ahead of everybody else 5 to 6 years. So they knew what was going to happen. They knew, I can't. Look, and a lot of people will put it on as, they pick Steph because he's a light-skinned nigga, right? All right? Fuck all that light-skinned shit. That nigga Monte was a light-skinned nigga too, but that nigga was just too much for him.
He was
This
tatted.
nigga
He was
light
from the
skinned, but this
slums.
nigga act dark skinned.
He was from
We
the
gotta get this
slums,
nigga out of
though.
here. Golden
Bro,
State
I've
ain't gonna
never-
love this nigga like that.
How
When we
many
go to
niggas
our
you know?
real quick, when we leave Oakland and we go to San Francisco, but still say we from the Bay, Monte ain't gonna be that nigga. We got to get we got to get someone a little bit more pleasing to the eye.
More of approachable. We gotta be more of a class, and maybe we can get somebody that his dad played in the NBA. We're gonna take that. Because
I'm like, all this shit is marketing, all this shit is promotion. I'm not
you gotta
saying
remember,
these people
Monte
don't have the skill, they do, but I'm like, yeah. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying Monte was blasted. Like, I just want to make that point. Like, he was blasted everywhere.
And he was a hood ass nigga.
He's from How many players you know came from Mississippi and was
He
nice?
was a hood ass nigga. When you did an interview with the nigga, you be like, hey, nigga, I'm just playing. You know what I'm saying? Nah, they didn't want that. They wanted stuff where they had the family, he had the kids. Like, all this shit is marketing and promotion. If y'all don't know what business, like, this be my problem a lot of times. This might be a different rap, but this be my problem a lot of times. And this is probably why I have such trouble like talking sports with people, because there's a point where you can be a fan, but then there's also a point where shit, if we're at a certain age and we're grown men, nigga, understand this shit is not happening based off of how good someone is. This is happening based off of the money being made, the marketing being, how much money is being put into the marketing, the investment, how much my return is. All of these things come into play because we're not talking about this. Oh, this nigga could put the ball into the bucket. No, nigga. All right, if I put this nigga in the commercial, how much money am I going to be able to make off that? If I end up advertising off this nigga, what can I get off this? If I end up putting the team behind his back, is everybody in the city going to be able to be like, I love this nigga and I want to be able to come here and buy more tickets? That is the first initial thought when it comes to all this shit. And that's why there's this type of weird ass shit going on with LeBron, because LeBron is trying to change it, where he's trying to put more, like he's already changed it, where he's put more power into the players, but he's really trying to shift the shit. And they're like, the NBA is like, wait, hold on now, nigga. Like, I'm letting y'all be free, like, but y'all chill.
Yeah, y'all should step me off that line now.
Right, like, LeBron, you can do it, but Draymond, nigga, after every playoff, nigga, you doing a podcast? Chill. Do it on a network that we know about. Do it on a network we can control. Now, when you retire, go ahead and make your own YouTube channel. Do your thing. Have fun. Mm-hmm. But right now, nigga, don't
see with JJ Redick, he started his own podcast, but now they're like, well, we want you on ESPN now. He's on ESPN more than I've ever seen. I'm like,
what do you think they're doing with Patrick Beverly now? It's like a lot of these dudes don't realize. I'm like, do you understand the type of following and shit you have? You can go off and you can do your own thing. I know there's no, and that's the thing. They understand that they are not hungry for money. They just want to stay busy. So they'll entertain come on ESPN and work with us and talk and be in front of the big lights, rather than being a Kwame Brown. Well, hey, yo, guess what? But Kwame Brown did it. Why? Because they disrespected him. So it's like there's this lane. It's like we don't want certain things being outed. Yeah. So we'll make sure. Look at Gilbert. I don't fuck with Gilbert because he's a coon ass nigga. The nigga's gonna say all the right things, nigga, with his little voice and all that shit, man. And Gilbert, you one of the coldest niggas. The only time you're outspoken is when you're talking about your statistics. Other than that, you a coon ass nigga. Everything he says. Oh well, no, let me say this. Well, hold on. That's how that nigga be sounding. I'm like, Gilbert, I loved you, dog. I didn't know you was gonna be this nigga. I ain't give no fucks about Kwame. But I'm like, when you become an older, when you as you grow older, you have your own shit, you understand, you develop your mindset. What you do becomes less of an importance than how you carry yourself and what you stand on, in my opinion. That's my personal opinion. Go and say a lot of people forget Steph Curry is 6'3", and I was 5'10". Steph Curry's probably Steph Curry's probably like 6'1", 6'2", and AI was probably like about 5'9", 5'8". The reason why I know that about AI because
he's about 5'10".
He is not. The reason why I know that is because I got people. My family's from Detroit. One of my cousins, they actually party with AI. She's 6'1", my cousin, and she told me how little AI was. So I have actually.
Well, those bones might have shrunk by now. He might have been at least 5'11" in his heyday.
He definitely wasn't, because the AI was not that big, nigga. It don't hurt that Steph Curry. And I'm telling you, I'm like, well, she partied with him when it was in his heyday, nigga. Like, she was like, she's older than me by like 12, 13, 14 years. She partied with him when she was in her heyday. Because back when she was in her heyday, you know what I'm saying, she was well known in Detroit, shit like that. Like, so trust me. Well, it was a little bit older.
He was tip jamming on niggas.
Just because you tip, you don't got to be a tall nigga to tip jam, nigga. That's athleticism.
But I'm saying, how many niggas you know was doing that? as a superstar.
Nigga in the NBA. I'm like, if he in the NBA, I wouldn't be surprised if a 5'2" nigga was tip jamming on niggas. I'm not gonna take away athleticism, but I'm like, trust me, AI was not that tall. AI was not that tall.
That's what I'm saying. He was a freak athlete. I'm like, he was really dunking in the lane, not in the lane, but he was coming down, dunking on the break, catching stuff off the lot,
Well, he dunked in the lane when he was young, when he was a rookie.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he had bounce. Like,
yeah, I agree with that. Yes,
like,
AI was
not doing
athletic.
that.
No, Nate Robinson wasn't doing that. No,
that's all open.
Spud Webb wasn't doing it. Earl Boykins wasn't doing it. And I'm not trying to say you that small, AI, because you're not. Because I seen you when you was giving dap to who the fuck was it? I forgot who it was, but he's supposed to be listed. I think it was like 6'4", 6'5", and you look to be about 6'1" standing next to him. But we all know all this shit is bullshit. We don't gonna get into the heights.
I give him like 5'10". If he's 5'9", bet. But with shoes on, he probably like 5'10".
With shoes on, I'll give him 5'10", 5'11". I'm not gonna lie.
But all that to say this, AI had the adversity. That was my biggest thing. If you don't have adversity and you could just hoop, you don't have people saying, "Oh, you're this guy, you're this." Like, he had people giving him threats in Philly, like, "You need to stop being like this." The whole David Stern was coming at this man. The whole dress code was because of AI.
That's what a lot of people don't want to talk about too. The whole game change. Have you watched Winning Time yet? Have you got a chance to get to that?
I'm gonna start watching it.
Check it out, because what it did for me was it made me appreciate the legends more in comparison to that age. Because I always remember my pops talking about how great Dr. J was, and they talk about the series where obviously Magic, the Lakers played 76ers, but it made me go back and just be like, oh wow. Shit, if Dr. J played in today's league, this nigga would still be an all-star superstar.
Fool. He was doing that in Chuck Converse.
I'm like, if Magic played in today's league, he'd probably have a chip because he's a 6'9" all-star superstar guard. We don't have those. So I'm like, when I go back and I look at things, it's almost like it's such a realistic take when you hear people say history repeats itself. Because as much as we want to say, oh, this is better because the game changed this way, but it's like, the game has evolved to complement the players being able to capitalize off of whatever is going on. It's not like the game has evolved to make shit harder for those particular players. So since that is the case, you can't say that certain superstars in previous eras wouldn't excel in these eras because supposedly the athleticism and all this shit increased. Because the game changed to complement the players in it. It didn't change to make it more competitive. It didn't change it to make it more, oh, when I'm watching this shit, I'm more on the edge of my seat. No, it made it more appealing to the eye where we have more scores, right? Higher percentages of 3-point, etc., less defense. So you're telling me guys like Kareem, Magic, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, you telling me these guys won't come into today's age and kill?
They would.
Fuck out of here.
They'll kill more because the technology would be better. Their shoes would be better. How they prepare, how they recover would be better.
Think about Shaq in today's age, nigga.
Oh, they get
nigga averaging 50 a night.
Easy.
Nigga averaging 50 a night. What you finna do? In today's rules, how you gonna stop Shaq?
You couldn't, because everything's a flagrant now. So everybody would get goddamn flagrant 1s and 2s. They was grabbing on his shoulders for dear life back in the day.
Gogory said AI is 5'10". I live in Philly, so I sit next to him. I went to a couple games. So he told us 5'10" right there. 5'10". I got 5'9".
Hey, yo, Flu, I don't mean to cut us off, but I'm gonna have to get going, my boy.
All right. Zen got to leave. How much time you got? You got 5 minutes?
Nah, I gotta go. I already used up all the extra minutes I had.
All right, he got to get up out of here. He about to go hoop. Salute to the people. I'm gonna stay on for like another 10 minutes because I want to rant my shit real quick.
Yeah, talk your shit. Good
Appreciate
podcast.
you, brother.
Peace and positivity. We gonna be back this weekend, Saturday. You already know what it is.
Yeah, it's a whack ass fight, but whatever. We're gonna be here.
It's gonna be a whack fight.
Come on, man. You know Benavides finna beat Lemieux. You really think it's gonna be a close fight?
Well, we're gonna be here to talk our stuff, man.
But salute everybody. Say, you know what I'm saying? They think, hey, yo, enjoy your night. Do your thing on the basketball court. Salute to the people, man.
All right, dog.
Appreciate you hopping in here, man. Excuse me, y'all. So Zen is up out of here, man. I'm not gonna keep this stream that much longer. I did have some shit that I wanted to talk about really quickly, but it's not gonna be too extra over the top. I just want to say salute to people. I appreciate everybody, man. I'm not gonna keep this over long-winded. There's not gonna be no boxing video tonight. There may be, we'll see, but probably not. Y'all can look out for those tomorrow.
I did want to say this. I want to speak on this. I want to speak on the hoes. Because y'all see in the comments, man. I said hoes ain't shit. Build your wealth. Okay. And there's a reason why I said that. And remember, anybody who comes here and listen to this at this point, this has to have to do with your mindset, right? If you're looking to have children, if you're looking to get married, all these extra type of things, then you shouldn't listen to what I'm going to say. But if you're someone who's like, okay, I'm in this, I'm trying to build myself, I want to get to a certain status, or I want to get to a certain point, then stay in here and listen to you, boy. All I'm saying right now is please do not waste extra energy on trying to impress a woman. Do not do that. Keep your energy, keep everything that you do based off of your goals. The only thing that you should be trying to impress is your goals, right? I know goals is not a physical thing, but just put, like, what helped me a lot is like, okay, I have these goals written out. I have these goals planned. I have all these things, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to achieve, in 6 months, 3 months, 4 months, year, whatever the case may be. I'm doing everything to impress my goals. So what I mean by that is everything I'm doing to make sure it aligns with me somehow being able to achieve what I'm trying to get to, right? And there's things that can come into play that can take that away. Stress, work, unexpected death, right? Your crib's AC goes out, your car has problems. Like, there's all different things that can come into your life that you have no control over that will try to distract you from the goal you're trying to get to, right? But what people don't want to touch on is the fact that those things you can't control, right? Those things I talked about have no control over you have no control over in your life. But the things you can control is a woman. Not you controlling the woman per se, but the woman you allow in your life. And a lot of young men, a lot of older men don't understand that we can get complacent because we feel like we can't create any more goals in our life. And when we get complacent, now we start looking for, okay, how can I satisfy these urges or this boredom that I have because I'm not necessarily focusing on how I can achieve to the next level, my own perspective level, right? Don't compare yourself to anybody. You should have your own levels you need to get to. That's happiness. You're always going to be unhappy if your levels are based off of somebody else's levels. You have to have your own levels. So when you're in that position and you get complacent, now it's like, okay, I want to find a woman to make me happy. I want to be emotionally touched, all that stuff. Like, that's cool. But you have to understand when you get in that bag, half of your attention is now divided. Because you have to understand when you get in that bag, especially when it becomes serious, you're thinking about kids, marriage, your happiness, your how you are driven, your determination, what you're going off is based off of each other. She's in a bad mood, you can't be in the greatest mood. You gotta go talk to her, make sure she's good, and vice versa. So there's the distraction that is now put into play. Now, that's not always the case. I'm not saying it's absolutes. Obviously, if you find the right person, you can make that work because you have an understanding between each other. But a lot of times people do not pick the right person. A lot of times we pick what is ever available to us. And then what we decide to do is, whatever I have to compromise to make this work because I don't want to be by myself, I'm going to compromise and I'm going to make this work so I don't have to be by myself. And now we're in a position where we don't understand we're doing that. But 5 years from now all of a sudden, okay, I'm not as happy as I thought I was because I had to give up something that I didn't realize I was giving up just so this shit can work. So I'm not making this long with it because I'm gonna get up out here this minute. But I definitely want to touch on this, man. I probably gonna have a separate podcast, maybe by myself, so I can talk to people about it. But I just want to preach to the young man, getting a little bit older up out of here, man. Salute to you, Go Green. Salute to, you know what I'm saying? Respect the rest of your night. I just want to tell the people, anybody's going to rewatch this, look, if you have goals in life, if you have things you're trying to achieve, if you have things you're striving for, do not give that up for nobody. Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to keep you going. That's what keep your mindset on it. Now, I remember what I based this off of. I remember what I disclaimed this joint off of when we started this joint. Or not when we started, but when I began talking about this, is it all depends on what you want. If you want a wife, you want kids, don't listen to me. I'm talking about someone who's just strictly focused on, hey, this is what I want to build in my life, and I want to be the best I can be personally. Because you have to understand distractions are far, 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 far greater than having peace in this life. God bless you, Go Green. Salute to you, man. I appreciate you. Blessings, positivity, nothing but positivity and blessings towards you. So I just want to tell my people that, like, look, if you have something that you are really striving forward, if you have a goal in your mind, because a lot of people don't, if you have something that you really want to get to and you know it seems far-fetched, then all it takes is consistency and continuing to do whatever the case whatever you feel like is needed to do. And a lot of people don't agree with how you're going about it, or a lot of people, they don't understand why you're doing it. Do not let something come into play to distract you or something to take you away from that. At times that may happen because you have to learn, you live and you learn, but be able to snap back quickly to be like, oh wait, I am taking away from my greatness. Okay. And a lot of times you have to understand when you deal with women, especially women that you don't know, women that just come into your life, they don't know what the fuck you on. They see what you're trying to do and they don't understand it. They're going to try and take away from it because they're like, nigga, why are you doing that? Why are you doing this, that? They're going to question everything you're doing because they don't understand it, because they're new in your life. So that's what I'm saying. Choose carefully, be selective, be smart, but also understand if your main priority is I need to build myself up, I'm trying to hit goals, do not mix that with women because they will take away from it. There's going to be a time where you can enjoy your life, and your enjoyment should come from reaching those goals, right? But the fruitfulness of being able to enjoy women after those goals should be what drives you if you're that focused. Do not let that come in and be like, oh, I'm enjoying now, but then I'm going to stop it and I'm never going to be able to get to. You guys have to be focused. You guys have to believe in what you're doing. Don't let anyone ever tell you that what you are trying to put your mind to and trying to build cannot be done, because that is going to be the majority of the responses, the majority of the opinions, the majority of the things that you hear when it comes to what you're trying to build, and people don't make sense because they're not in your head to understand everything you have in place to make sure that happens. Okay. So remember that. Remember that, Black Goose family. I'm trying to tell y'all that because that is very important. Women are amazing. They're absolutely amazing. It's hard to deny them. It's hard to be like, I got this shit I'm finna do, but she talking about she want to come to the crib. I either got to choose between telling her no and possibly losing that for the rest of my life and doing what the fuck I got to do to make sure I'm better in my future, or telling her yes and then putting my shit to the side, right? A lot of times we put the shit to the side. A lot of times we be like, man, fuck what the fuck we got to do. Baby girl, come through. Stop doing that. If you are really focused, if you really want something, if you really have goals to be somewhere, stop doing that. Because I promise you that bitch still going to be around. That bitch is going to respect you more when you tell her, hey, I got to do this. But we be so worried about the fact that, oh, if I don't give her that attention during that time, someone else is going to, and they're going to take her away. Right? That's always the case. We're always in the sense of, because we understand the options and the opportunities that women have. We think if I tell her no, someone else is going to tell her yes. And when that one dude tells her yes, I now lose her because I told her no. So I can't tell her no. You got to understand, if you tell a chick no and you lose her because of that no, that wasn't the chick you should be fucking with. And I promise you this, you're going to end up finding that out later. So you have to understand what is being told to you and presented to you in the beginning. But we don't do that. I don't do that. A lot of times I'll deal with a woman, I'll deal with a chick, have this relationship, whatever the case may be. And then afterwards, when I'm like, man, I should never fuck with that bitch, I can go back and I look back and I'm like, man, there was a million red flags in the beginning where if I would have just acknowledged it, addressed it, because that's the thing us dudes don't want to do either. We'll see the red flags or we'll see some bullshit and we won't address it in the beginning. Rather than being like, hey, yo, bitch, you like, you know what I'm saying? You just walked out your crib with your ass out. Like, that's weird. Like, you just advertising yourself for everybody. It's supposed to be me and you, baby. We won't say that. Rather than we'll see her walk out with her ass out and we'll just be like, oh, okay, she just showing off that fire ass body. But then, nigga, 2 years down the line, why the fuck you got your ass all over Instagram, bitch? She told you already, but we ignore it because we just want the box so bad. And we should not be so infatuated with the box, because that is what ends up making us lose. The progression and the type of what's the word for it? Perseverance, dedication that we want to get to the box from most women. If y'all had that same exact mindset toward getting money, nigga, you would never be worrying about if rent had to be paid, man. Oh God, salute to you, Go Green. You have to have a balance always. And I'll even say this. I'll even take it a little bit further where I say I don't even think there should be a balance. I think it should be entirely, as a man, your focus should be on building yourself. And if your focus is on building yourself and continue to do what you need to do to make sure you're the greatest that you can be, a woman will come along and complement that. You won't even have to look for it. I think we get so lost in the fact that we are looking so much for this particular woman to complement what the fuck we're doing. A lot of times we choose the wrong woman. Why? Because I think niggas, dudes are terrible at choosing women. We're terrible at it because we're so focused on, I want sex. Or we're so focused on, oh, damn, she look good, I want her. Right? So I think if we build and we focus on building and allow the right woman to come along, and whatever ups and downs we may have, but you see she's a solid bitch and she gonna hold you down, that's the one for you. Time will tell for a hoe if she the right one for you. But a lot of times us as niggas, even though we're not the emotional ones, we still do act off of, God damn, that bitch look good. I want her. I don't want her to be with nobody else, so I'm gonna lock that down. And nigga, that was in the first year, and now 5 years from now, I'm like, man, this bitch ain't shit, but I'm stuck with her. Rather than being like, man, she look good. I like what she's on. Let's be cool. Let's be friends. We be on some shit. Maybe I know it for 3 to 4 or 5 years before we actually end up really linking up and being on some shit. But now I know what you really on. So I know. But we be so quick. And then we get motherfucking let down. And we like, oh, man, another bitch played me. Or I'm stuck with this bitch right here with a couple kids or whatever the case may be. And it's like, we have to be smarter than that. We have to believe in ourselves. We have to believe in what we're trying to get. And we have to make sure we put our focus in this. This is why I'm going to tell the people in the Black Hoes family how much I love y'all. Appreciate everybody up in here. Please hit the like button, subscribe. I got so much to say when it comes to this topic. So much. But I'm not going to be long with it tonight, man. It's 10:12. I'm going to go ahead and leave it on that. Unless y'all want to hear something else, man, drop in the comment. I'm going to use the bathroom real quick. If y'all want me to, speak on something else, let me know. But let me use the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. All right, salute to the people, man. As always, I was talking my shit before I left. I had to go ahead and use the bathroom real quick. I'm not gonna be much longer. I just want to tell everybody, man, appreciate y'all, love y'all. What I'm thinking about doing is tomorrow. Obviously, I'm gonna drop some videos for you guys tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, if you guys are watching, check out that content. I might go live tomorrow for y'all too, because I'm like tomorrow, Friday night. I'm not sure. I may go out. If I don't go out, I'm gonna go live because I want to talk some shit, man. I'm gonna change up a little bit of format because I want to talk to y'all about these hoes, and I want to put y'all on game. But I'm not gonna do crazy with it. But I appreciate everybody who came up in here, man. Fluence and Zien, another one. I thought it was a great podcast. I appreciate Zien coming up in here, man. We was talking that basketball talk the whole entire time. If you guys get all the way to the end, have my little shit when it came to bitches. Look, I'm just trying to tell my young people up out of there, man. Please don't be so focused on having a girl. Don't be so focused on, oh, I gotta have a bitch in my life. I gotta press this bitch and all that type of shit. Don't be focused on that in your early latter days, okay? Only thing you should be focused on is how the fuck you're gonna be able to eat in this life. The only thing you should be focused on is when I hit 30, am I gonna be okay? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm telling you, if that's your focus, a woman's going to come along in your life that's going to complement that. Because you're on point, you're focused, you're determined to do what you need to do. So that energy is going to be put out into the atmosphere and it will be reciprocated by a woman at some point. Like, think about this. I'm like, the unfortunate part when it comes to men, right? A lot of times in our heads, we have to be like, oh, in order for us to fuck with a bitch, we got to, go out, talk to bitches, put ourselves out there to numerous amount of different type of women type shit, right? People don't understand by us doing that, that's actually fucking with our minds, because the more women we come across and the more women where either they're saying yay or nay, the more we start diluting exactly what we want from a woman, because now we're talking to a woman who's on some different type of shit and she's entertaining me, but I'm entertaining it, and I'm on some bullshit, and I'm like, wait, I don't even fuck with this type of bitch. And now you know what I'm saying? So now the priorities and all the things that you really wanted, now they all over the place, right? Whereas instead of going out, I'm trying to find a bitch, I'm trying to you're focused on what you're trying to get. You focus on your goals. And then every once in a while, you know, you're going out, but it's not for you to try to find a woman, nothing like that. You're just enjoying your time. Your energy is on point. You know, you're going to the right place. You're going to attract something. I'm not saying you're always going to attract the right shit. That's not what I'm saying, but you will attract something if you keep yourself up. Now, if you're just a slob, that I'm talking about something different. But if you're disciplined, going to the gym, going to work, and trying to have goals to better yourself on a daily basis, you will attract something. And now you are doing the vetting. Now you are saying, oh, okay, well, I got this bitch, I got to figure out which one's going to actually work. That's all I'm saying is focus on yourself. I would have never preached this 3 years ago, 4 years, 2 years ago, goddamn it, because I never understood it, right? One, I never focused on myself to the point where I really put myself in esteem where I can achieve these things. And if I make sure I do all these different type of things, I can have this type of level of confidence where I'm like, hey, yeah, like, if you good, you good. Right. So I just wanted to share that with the Black Goose TV family. This ain't the last of it, man. I got some more shit for y'all as always, man. So like I said, tomorrow I'm gonna come back with some shit for y'all that we can talk about, really get up in here. But I want to go ahead and go live for the people, you know what I'm saying? Especially for the Fluence Zien. We have some shit to talk about, give y'all some content. But I'm telling y'all, if you're not part of the Black Goose TV family now, you better start being, because I'm like, we got so many plans for this channel, man. So many things that we're gonna add. The future is looking bright in a motherfucker. So I appreciate everybody up in here, man. I appreciate anybody who came up into the goddamn chat, especially Go Green, man. He kept it popping. Anyone's a winner now. I appreciate y'all, man. Hit the like button below. Subscribe to the channel, man. Show some love. I'll be back tomorrow with some fire. But nothing but love, man. Stay blessed, stay up. And I just like I said, man, don't let these bitches get you, man. Don't let them get you, man. Don't be chasing these hoes. Like, there's a difference between chasing and making sure you have options. Chasing is you get 4 bitches numbers and only one of them texts back, but the conversation is mad short and you just hit me back, and you hitting the other 3 bitches. Knowing your worth and getting those 4 numbers, none of those bitches text back. Guess what? All right, it's cool. I ain't gonna text none of them back. And go get another 4 numbers. You feel me? Because you're gonna be able to. So salute to people. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Fluence in this motherfucker as always. Salute to Zen coming up in here, man. Showing some love as always, man. Appreciate y'all to another level, man. Y'all don't understand how much I love y'all, man. Like, this shit is dope. So appreciate y'all. I'm out. Enjoy y'all night. And as always, Fluence will be back.